This is just a short video to give you some idea of how the app works with the Zino Mini Pro. You'll notice that I'm having troubles getting the upgrade to work properly, but I did finally get it to work. One of the nice features of the Zino Mini Pro is you can connect the application on the phone directly by USB cable to the Mini Pro itself. Now, I'm showing a little bit of video from our back garden to give you an idea of how it copes with the change of contrast from sun to dark and again. Now, this is the app as it was before the upgrade. You might have noticed there was something missing in the left hand side, and now I'll continue with this contrasting video from light and switching to the dark side of the garden. I think it copes reasonably well. It's manual yaw here, so you have to put up with the way I'm yawing it rather than its own orbit mode. This is the app now that I've managed to update it at last. I found out if I removed the app from my phone completely with all the data and then reinstalled it, I got an updated app on the phone, and suddenly the Zino Mini Pro is working much better with this app. And to give you an idea of how it's working, here it is. Please excuse my vegetable garden that has been somewhat neglected. This is just some video taken not long before sunset, just to give you an idea of how the new app looks. As you can see, the red on the left hand side, the red circle, that's collision avoidance. I did manage to get that working earlier and found it quite impressive, but suddenly it won't work. And now this is to give you an idea of how the photos can be adjusted, JPG to RAW, and you can change the ISO and shutter levels and change it from ordinary to sunny day. I haven't played much with any of these. I'm not much of a photographer, so know little about ISO and shutter speeds. But I'm sure that's important to some of you, and this is what the actual video quality looks like. Remember, this is not very far before sunset. Well, I did hit a problem here because I tried to switch on the obstacle avoidance while I was inspecting my runner beans here, and it said I couldn't because I had to do something. Now, firstly, let me just show you a bit of video and some of the changes you can make. I'm now going to switch to 1080p 60 frames a second before continuing on. And here we go. That was the instant prompt that I got that disappeared very fast, saying that I had to go to X-Hubsan support to check on the aircraft vision assistance system, which I understand is the obstacle avoidance. So it isn't working at the moment, which is a shame because I was trying to get quite near to my beans here without it actually crashing. Oh, and if you land on the grass, it upsets the gimbal a bit, so don't do that. But I seem to have got away with it, so that's okay. Now, I'm just going to turn towards the setting sun to see how it copes with the contrast as I video the sun not far off sunset in the distance. I'm sure those experts among you will know whether this is good or bad. I mean, it looks reasonable to me, but I've only got some very cheap drones to compare it with. So bringing it back now, bring it round to the right, and just finishing off this video, I'll get just a little bit further in and then get close to my sunflowers, which you can see are growing very well. Oh, well, that's what happens if you haven't got obstacle avoidance. Shredded the sunflowers somewhat there, and the drone didn't look at all damaged, but as you can see, this has thrown the gimbal settings right out. And we'll finish at this point. Obviously now I've got to let the gimbal readjust itself, which it seems to have done quite happily afterwards. But if you try and fly it without resetting the gimbal, this is what you get.